Good morning, everyone. We're here for Friday morning mat class, a little core tune up to take us into the weekend with some stretching, some flexibility work as well. So just before I started the recording, I was telling the class that you should lie down, but get comfortable. And I always say that, but I'll be a little bit more explicit about it this morning. If lying flat on your back does not feel good, you can be anywhere from sitting all the way upright to that lying down position. So if it means wedging a pillow or a couple of things under your back to make yourself comfortable, that's what you should do. The spine being comfortable is almost a requirement for the nervous system to kind of shift into that more open state where we can more readily connect core. So once you've gotten into that position, whether it's sitting or lying down or anywhere in between, use the next couple of breaths to allow the hips, the low spine, the upper back, the chest and shoulders, all of those places where we might hold tension. We want to allow those areas to soften and become progressively more relaxed. We want the body not only to feel supported, but also to not feel like it's vulnerable, not vulnerable to injury or anticipating pain. Right? All of this is in an effort to get to that deeper place where we're not distracted by the possibilities of those other things happening. And we can tune our awareness more closely to the flow of breath and its connection to core. We inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Now, as you do the inhale and the exhale, try to keep the breath moving at a steady, comfortable flow rate, and to feel like the channel that it passes through is open. Right. So, with all the various contours of your insides and the spine itself, you're going to have a little bit of a wavy pathway as the breath draws in and leaves, but you don't want it to ever be closed or pinched at any level. So, we inhale downward nice and smooth until the breath settles in the belly and the pelvis. We exhale upward through the crown without any feeling of constriction through the low back, the ribs, the chest, or the neck. I'm going to keep quiet and have you do that for 3 or 4 more rounds of breath. Two more exhales. After completing your last exhale, go ahead and bend your knees, of course, adjusting your spine into a position where you can do mat work a little bit more easily. We are going to put a ball between the knees and pretty shortly thereafter move into imprint and release. Now, if you've got a little bit of elevation under the head and the upper back and you're on the floor, that works just fine. So don't worry about that. When you've gotten yourself settled into the next position, knees bent, ball between them, we'll inhale and exhale just once before we add anything else and make sure we still got the clear pathway for the breath. And then the next time you exhale, keeping the clear pathway, I'd like you to slowly begin to squeeze the inner thighs or apply a little bit of muscle tone to that area. And when you inhale, you can relax the squeeze a little bit, but don't drop the ball. And repeat this maybe 2 or 3 times, ensuring that we've still got the clear pathway for the breath as we integrate the lower extremities with our spine through our center. You might feel toward the end of the exhale breath that a kegel or a pelvic floor action pretty naturally arises. That action is not meant to close the bottom of pelvic floor. So different than a post-childbirth exercise, for instance. Instead, it's meant to bring the bottom points of the pelvis into a relationship, right? A conscious connection with each other, pubic bones and tailbone front to back, and the two sitting bones left and right. We're going to move the pelvis as one unit and prepare for imprint with an inhale. And then on the next exhale, contract the lower abs and bring the low spine flatter toward the mat. It might touch, it might not. Release this contraction in the low abs as you inhale. Allow your natural curve to return to the low back area. And repeat every time you exhale. Use your abdominal muscles to draw the spine back to the mat. And every time you inhale, relax the abdominal muscles and allow the lumbar curve to return. Please do 6. Maintaining that very light squeeze of the inner thighs each time we exhale. And returning to neutral without dropping the ball, of course. Look for that kegel at the end of the exhale breath that helps to stabilize the way the pelvic halves move with each other. You're going to lift that kegel into the body a little bit on your inhale as the pubic bones lengthen away from you. Please do 2 more. Pardon me. When you've returned from your last round of imprint and release, put the ball off to the side and hug your knees into your chest. So we'll pull the knees in. Your low back is going to drop flat to the mat. Your tailbone might lift. All of that is good so long as you're not experiencing pain. And as you hug those knees in, you can flex and point your feet a little bit. And then take them in circles that move in the same direction. Go the other way as well. And then before you add any additional stretch to the hips, opening inner thighs and whatnot, make sure that you have opened the chest and lowered your shoulder blades gently onto the ribs off of the neck. Anything else you need to do? And then please put the feet onto the ground one at a time. We're going to move into hip release. And so for the sake of the argument, let's just start to work with the right leg. Left leg can be straight or bent or anywhere in between. We want to return to a neutral posture. Exhale once you're there. Ready to begin. Inhale, the right knee drops out to the side as you laterally rotate the hip and stretches down the mat. Exhale, roll the thigh inward toward the left leg and bend the knee, pulling the heel up. Circle in this outward direction 4 times. Inhaling and exhaling to complete each repetition. Finishing that last round, we still work with the right leg and reverse the direction. Inhale to drop the knee inward toward the left side, slide the leg down. Exhale, rotate outward from the hip, bend the knee, and then feel the inner thigh, bringing the sole of the foot flat to the floor. 4 of these, of course. Don't neglect the importance of the hamstrings as you bend the knee, or the inner thigh, maybe especially the inner thigh as you bring the foot and the leg back to square. And when you've done your 4th one, pause for a moment, both feet flat to the ground, and prepare with an exhale to move the other leg, the left leg. When you're ready to go, inhale, knee drops away from the midline, and the leg slides down. Exhale, roll inward from the top of your thigh bone and bend the knee, sliding the heel back up, and do 4. You'll reverse after 4, you know that. Take your time getting there. And continue to track moment by moment the movement and the breath, reversing when you're ready for that. Knee dropping inward, sliding downward, turning outward, heel upward. Mhm. And when you've done your last one, pause for a moment. Open your mouth. This is going to sound weird. Don't worry, you're not being recorded. Open your mouth and inhale. Stick out your tongue. And then exhale, pull your tongue back in, allow your jaws to close. I know that's a weird one. And I literally just stuck my tongue out on the video, so don't be shy. Try it another time, relaxing the jaws and the muscles underneath the tongue. And then relax the face into a neutral position. Sorry, my dog also just walked in. Roll over onto your side, please. We'll continue with our spinal rotation here. Pad the underside of the head here as you lie down on your back so that you don't feel like your neck is all crunched. We want to be able to turn the neck easily, so make space for yourself. Also, speaking of making space, we can put the ball between the inner thighs or knees. And so we have space for the hips. With my assistant helping, I'm going to have you do an unusual version for us. We're going to have the bottom arm stretched along the floor and the top hand gently resting on the center of the chest. Try this with me. If you don't like it, you can do the normal version. Exhale in preparation. Feel an opening, a softness at the chest. And then inhale, begin to turn the head toward the ceiling and begin to also open the chest in that direction. As you exhale, gently draw the hand across the chest and shoulder, maybe extending the arm out to the side. Hold here, inhale. And then exhale, you can return by putting the hand to the chest. And you might slide the hand out long, but we're going to continue with that opening another time or two. We'll look upward, hand passing over the top of the chest. And exhale, open wide, a little bit of a soft, right, pull across the chest, and then continue. Let's do a total of 4. I'm going to close my door. You guys keep going. So we're not horsing around the shoulders, right? We're just gently feeling a stretch across this really hard to move area. And letting the rest of the rotation progress naturally from that. When you've done 4, sorry, I was a little distracted, roll over to your other side and we'll try from the opposite direction. Take your time if you're still moving through your last one. Now, we want to kind of build on what we're finding here with this alternate position and movement of the arm and shoulder. Oh, there's a kitty. More pets in the screen.
She's been sitting and listening.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Now
She'll be able to give Pilates class when I'm gone. So you set it up, ball between the knees. All the rest of the setup is the same. You can even start with both arms extended, or you can start the first one with the hand on the chest. We'll inhale and begin the rotation at the neck. That is crucial. The rotation at the neck informs the ribs in the upper chest and back of what's going on as you continue into the larger rotation on exhale. In the open position, you'll inhale. And then exhale, begin to soften the shoulder and the elbow, drawing the hand back across the chest, returning to front, and maybe extending the arm. We do 4. And so the movement of the arm just mechanically does help with the opening of the shoulder, but also the idea of touch in this part of the torso and the spine behind, that's hard to move. Should help wake up that area and allow for at least awareness, if not actual movement in the area just below the base of your neck. Try not to tighten that area as you return from rotation. And when you've completed your last one, we'll come to hands and knees and continue in cat stretch. So it's not like any one area of the spine or the body is super important, but we are kind of looking at upper back and chest today. So when we do our cat stretch, which is what is next, we want to make sure that we're able to move longitudinally or lengthwise through that area in the upper back and not just sidewards through the shoulders. Does that make sense? So go ahead and arrange your shoulders. You can push ribs back and forward and then shift forward and back to fingertips and hips. And then inhale and exhale, create the clear channel from one end of the spine to the other without any closing in the chest. Inhale in preparation for cat stretch. And then when you exhale, start at the base of your spine to round into a spooky cat curve. Inevitably, the shoulder blades are going to stretch away from each other as you bend forward. But remember also to stretch lengthwise from the base of your neck to the bottom of the ribs or even into the sacrum and tail. Include the stretch up through the crown. Inhale, and then exhale, return. You can add extension if you like. We'll inhale and extend the upper back and then release. And do 3 total rounds of this spinal movement. Putting lengthwise space into the spine. When you've done your third one, sit back and just roll your wrists out a couple of times. Or, some people like to play piano in the air, shake their hands. Right? You can do circles. You can hold hands together and make figure eights. Shake that out. And then lie on our back. Our backs. Subject verb agreement. Right. Once you're settled, we're going to move a little bit through the arms and then go back into spinal movement. So you let yourself be neutral in the spine, and with or without the weights, please extend the arms forward to the ceiling. We will start with triceps, and so we're not actually even moving in the shoulders. We'll see if on an inhale breath, as we bend the elbows, we can keep that same clear pathway down into the lower belly. And then on the exhale breath, as we extend the elbows, same clear pathway back up. So we start simply with the breath principles. We bend and stretch the elbows on the inhale and exhale, warming up the triceps, of course, but kind of assessing how we're doing with the breath and making any necessary adjustments along the way. Please do 2 more. And when you've done your last one, you'll keep the arms straight. We're going to open and close to the side, so a little bit of a disruption in our normal pattern. When you inhale, open the arms to the sides, away from each other. And when you exhale, bring them forward. And the goal with the breath is the same. Clear channel downwards, clear channel upwards. You might also squeeze the ball on exhale. And try not to let the upper back and neck kind of bear down into the mat. Just rest. Pardon me. Finish the one you're on and do 1 more. Now, finally, we'll do the reaching back and forth, same sort of patterning. We'll inhale to extend the shoulders back, pardon me, and exhale to bring the arms forward. Aim for 5 of these. And don't cheat the shoulders. So don't be tempted to really push your range of movement. Right? The breath connection is more important, right, than any range of movement. that you hope to gain here. And when you finish the last one, put your arms down by your sides and feel that you have successfully moved the arms around the outside of the ribs through the shoulder compartment. Now, in hip rolls, you're going to lower or remove your head mat. We're going to move the ribs between the arms, again, using that axis of the shoulders, and attempt also, as we did a cat stretch, to put longitudinal stretch on the spine. Sometimes it's a little bit more apparent here. Plant your feet, inhale in neutral, exhale, lightly squeeze the ball, and roll the spine up from the tail end all the way until you're resting on the back of the shoulders. Inhale here, firmly grounded through the feet. Exhale, squeeze the ball lightly and roll back down. Now, I'd like you to do 4 of these. Moving through the spine, you can take as many breath cycles as you need to complete any given phase of the movement. Staying away from things that trigger pain. And maintaining the integrity of the breath connection. And not just into your center, but into your lower extremities, your legs, your feet. When you've done your last one, you can replace your head mat or whatever support you're using under your head and upper back. And we will move into some ab prep. A lot of ways to approach ab prep with regard to the arms. You can have arms down by your sides. You can have hands resting on the chest or even extended 90 degrees forward to the ceiling. And of course, hands behind the back is another classic version of this. I want you, though, to focus on the feeling of the breath and the feeling of how the bones relate to each other. I know it's a little esoteric, but we'll work on the proprioception and we'll work on the ability to truly stretch the back of the body as we truly contract the front. It's easy to get them confused. So with your chosen arm position, we're going to inhale and nod the head, and don't put all your stretch in the back of your neck, right? You need to be able to stretch through the entire upper spine. So it's just a gentle elevation of the base of your skull. And then exhaling without any stoppage or constriction in the breath, lift just the back of your head from the mat. So it's a very tiny flexion. Inhale here. Now don't lower down. We're going to exhale, and with the clear flow of breath, we're going to bend the next vertebra or 2 and lift that off the mat. A third and final time, inhale and exhale. Bend in that really tough area just below the base of the neck. Keep softening. Inhale and exhale to lower. We're going to do 6, and you can maintain the 3 stages as you bend forward, or you can do it all in one exhale. The idea is the same. We're not tightening the spine or the muscles on the back. We're moving the breath and allowing the back of the body to find flexion from the top of the head through the bottom of the shoulder blades. And so lower spine is neutral, the hips are resting. Your inner thighs are active in a light way, but we're certainly not pushing through the feet. Here too, you come up as far as it's appropriate for you, not pushing the boundary into pain or into compromise with the breath. Last couple. And I'm watching my screen. I'll know you're done when you stretch your legs out. Good. Pardon me. When you've stretched your when you've stretched your legs, go ahead and flex and point your feet. Make your little ankle circles. Do whatever you need to do to rewarm the feet and to put some movement back in there. It's time for our prone work. So we're going to roll over and have pointed toes for a while. You want to make sure that your feet don't immediately clamp up into little claws. Lie on your front. And we will start with hip extension. So the spine is resting. Your hands sort of classically are under the forehead, but if you need to have them in a different position, that's fine. Legs are stretched out below, and we want a clear position for the pelvis so that we can feel when we're using the glutes to pick up the thighs instead of using the low back, for instance, to lift up the hips. Okay, so pubic bones on the mat, the spine is long and stretched. You've inhaled and exhaled here, locating your kegel, the line of your inner thighs, and pointing your toes. Inhale in preparation. And then as you stretch behind the knees, exhale, lift the back of your thigh bones with your glute muscles, not moving the pelvis, just gliding the femurs in the hips. Inhale and exhale to lower. Twice more in the last one, we make fancy. Exhale, stretch, and lift the back of your thighs. As you hold here and inhale, relax your neck, your upper back, your lower back, and exhale, lower. The third time you exhale and lift, make sure the sacrum is settled. Inhale here, pulses upward 5 times. Exhale, stretch the legs further. Maybe they rise a half an inch. Inhale. Exhale, stretch the legs further, pulsing upward again, and inhale. As you do your last 3, we're targeting the glutes. We're not pulling on the base of the neck or even the bottom of the shoulders. Hold the last pulse upward, inhale. And then exhale, lower the legs to the mat. And bring your arms down along your sides. We'll do some breaststroke prep number 2, or dart, and you should feel like a dart flying through the air as you do this one. We'll inhale and pick up the arms, centering them on the ribs, and be aware of the line all the way through the crown so that as you exhale and begin to lift the breastbone forward and upward toward the base of the chin, the head is already in line. There's no hinge point at the low back or bottom ribs. It's just a continuous stretch similar to the legs. And then exhale and lower. 2 more of these. Same idea. We prepare by setting the shoulders, becoming aware of the head. And then with that clear pathway for the breath, we exhale and rise, not tilting the chin up, instead just floating the breastbone. And then exhale, lower. It's more about stretch in a good way. We rise the last time, and then we do something fancy here. Now, instead of lifting the chest further, although you could do that, 3 times, I'd like you to spread across the collarbones and exhale, lift the back of your arms a little further. Inhale, and twice more, exhale. And once more. Inhale at the top. Exhale, lower down, soften to the mat, and sit back into shell stretch, please. We're going to save our larger extension for later. So here, we've just woken up the back muscles, and now we're stretching them. You can move the shoulders around. You can do that funny thing where you open and close your jaws. And when you're ready, walk your hands in, roll your spine up. And we're going to sit and move into half roll back. So we're going to bypass the 100 for now. And continue into our half roll back exercise. Sit high enough that your hips are mobile and not distracting. So like our initial breathing, we want to start from a place where we're not already struggling. So you sit up, Sitting bones in front, and we're gonna do this weird thing with the elbows that we've been trying out this week. Okay, so I'd like you to have hands reaching in front, and your choice, you can have palms facing each other or palms down, right? Palms facing each other gives a little bit more open rotation at the shoulders. Ball can be between the knees. We'll inhale here and bend the elbows. And then as you exhale, roll back, extending the arms to the front, pulling the pelvis away from the thighs, firming the triceps. And then in the rolled back position, inhale, bend your elbows a little bit, releasing the shoulders and the neck. And then exhale, squeeze the ball, stretch the arms, and return forward. Again, please inhale, prepare, settling the shoulders, opening the upper back, and then exhale, roll back. Lower abs, pulling the pelvis, lower back, stretching under the curve of the hips. Inhale, stay, relax your feet into the ground, bend the elbows, and then exhale, squeeze the ball, pulling your pelvis back toward the inner thighs as you firm the back of your arms and rest open through the top of the chest. Please do 2 more. We're doing half roll back and we're almost done. You probably have 1 more to go.
My connection failed.
Oh, yeah, and I didn't see that until just a moment ago. Sorry about that. I'm glad you came back in. And then rest after you've completed your last one. We're going to pause and do a little twist in a vertical position. And we can use, I'll give you some options with the arms. You can have a ball between the knees or the feet. Legs can be extended in front, or you can be sitting up and have a little softness at the knees. So really the spinal position in vertical is more important, right, than the set position of the legs. Here, with the arms, we were just working there, or maybe here. I'd like you to turn your palms inward if you didn't have them inward. A couple of times, we're going to spread across the arms like we're pressing outward against the triceps. Inhale. And exhale. So kind of like our arm warm up, but we were lying on the floor. Inhale. Lifting your kegel inward, and exhale without closing any level of the spine. 1 more, inhale. And decide where you want to work for your twist with your arms. We can extend the arms to the side, or we can pull the arms in to rest against the chest. Ready to go. Exhale 3 times. Begin twisting at the bottom of the waist. Exhale again a little higher. Exhale again a little higher. And inhale, return to center. Continue to the other side. Now, just a reminder that we don't want to lock either the sternum in front or the section of spine between the shoulder blades and back. It is indeed stable or not moving, but it's that way because it's supported, not because it's tense. Right. So add that into how you're working. Do 1 more repetition across the sides. And when you finished your last one, rest your arms down. Okay. We're going to do roll down, which of course involves rolling up, and you don't want to be sitting on anything for this. So ditch your blanket or your cushion or whatever. You can have a cushion ready for the back of your head if you like it. You can certainly hold weights in your hands, right? So if you're using that version, or if you've been doing that version, you can continue to use it. Right. Arms in front. You might squeeze the ball if you're using it, and then continue into your exhale and roll down. Feel the rolling of the hips and the pelvis. I usually need to take a second breath, at least with the first one, and relax the spine, and then continue all the way down, relaxing and lengthening the spine before finally stretching out and reaching the arms back. Nod the head and bring the arms forward, releasing breath. Until you're all the way upright or over your legs. And then inhale, prepare for the next one. That's it, you guys. Yes, very strong. We'll do just one more all the way down and up. And then we'll add another half one to get back down to the ground. Yes. Now, once you're back down to the ground, you bring your arms by your sides, release any props that you're using. We're lying on our back. Change my camera a little bit here. Lying on our backs. And we're going to do rotation now through the waist again, but this time rolling or rotating across the back of the pelvis. Take a breath in and exhale, make your imprint. Breathe in and out in your imprint and make sure you haven't put all of the stretch into a couple of really flexible areas. Instead, as you hold your imprint, you're distributing the stretch through the length of the outer surface of your spine, not tensing the back muscles. And then when you've got that, we'll inhale, reach long under the tailbone, and exhale, reach long through the crown and lift a leg up. Try not to feel any panickiness in the chest, and do not press the upper back into the floor. Exhale, lift the second leg. Now, when the legs are up, especially if you've got a little bit of instability in the pelvis, I suggest a ball between the knees. We're not going to roll the ball or slide the knees against each other. Instead, we're going to twist from the waist, using an exhale breath to lift one hip from the floor as we roll to the other side. Keep it small. Inhale, return to center. Exhale, other side. Inhale, return to center. We're going to do 4 of these in each direction. And I'd like you to move in a very small way. Now your arms can be wherever they help to relax the shoulders. Right? So I'll let you tease that out. Pelvis entirely stable. And we explore range of motion in the bottom half of the spine. When you've done your last one, return to center, hug your knees to your chest. Right, you can put the ball off to the side, of course. And then anything you need to do, flex point the feet, circle your ankles, shift side to side. We've got a couple of other things to do in tabletop. Ready to move on. Return to a centered position. Make sure that you're imprinted. And then exhale, place the legs in tabletop. And I'd like us to try, in some sense, a supported double leg stretch. So if you're intending to bend forward with the upper body, hands behind the head or head resting on some sort of a support. I probably should have said that first. Yeah. So get where you need to be, right? So if I'm using some sort of support behind my upper back, I've got this. Clear channel for the breath, bottom of the ribs lightly drop down, the whole spine is relaxed, and a foot at a time off the mat. Now we're going to extend and bend the legs together as one unit, all on an exhale breath or both on an exhale breath. Prepare with an inhale, stretching through the back of your pelvis, and then exhale, reach into the crown of your head and stretch your legs away. Hold here and inhale, and then exhale, bend your knees. Repeat a total of 4 times. And when you've done the last one, you can rest your head back, all right, or just pull your knees to your chest or some combination of those things. As you breathe and recuperate here, we are going to do the 100 next. It will be one of the last things we do in tabletop here. And so you can use any of those variations for the head. If you're not supporting with your hands behind your head, consider extending your arms by your sides and pulsing, right? Legs can be extended as well if you'd like to add a little additional challenge for your lower abs and bottom of the ribs, specifically that chain down through the legs. Keep your imprint and place your legs into tabletop. Use an exhale breath, right? And if you know the flex band modification and wish to use it, you can do that too. And then with your arms in the position you want to work and moving into your starting place, maybe nodding the head. If you're going to bend forward, exhale, do that now. If you feel any panicky sense in your back, lower down. Inhale, maybe extend the legs and then continue into the 100. Mm-hmm. The even length up and down through the spine and the clear channel for the breath are super important. Breastbone and area behind the heart, nice and soft. And when you finish, take a breath in and exhale, lower down, or in some sense, rest back. And then exhale and lower the legs one at a time. If you have your head elevated on a ball, you can go ahead and put that off to the side as well. And let yourself stretch out. That means the legs too. Yeah, and if you're still working, don't worry, you continue to work. We're going to roll over onto our belly eventually, but everyone gets a little stretch interval here. We continue into a couple other versions of prone extension. So lie on your belly, make yourself comfortable there. We will start with spinal extension this time. So we'll be doing breaststroke prep number 1. The hands are up near the shoulders and it is a deeper back bend. All right, so kind of the reverse motion of our forward bend. Stretch the legs out below you. Feel that long continuous pull from the bottom of the ribs down through the toes and the connection between the inner thighs. Inhale, put depth and openness into the upper ribs. And then exhale, begin releasing the breastbone forward and upward toward the chin. As the shoulder blades slide or glide down the back of the ribs, you extend upward into the bottom of the ribs at the highest. Inhale here and exhale, return. You a total of 4. You continue. Spreading across the collarbones, moving the ribs and the spine together. Feel that the shoulder blades glide on the surface and never lift off or bear down. Mhm. And when you've done your last one, just pause for a moment. Now you can use your ball for heel squeeze if you like. We're going to rest the spine again, so you put your arms wherever they need to be and shuffle your legs apart. Legs are apart to about the width of the mat, and then you bend your knees so the bottoms of your feet are parallel to the ceiling. And then you laterally rotate the legs so the inner thighs roll forward or downward into the mat and the heels come together. Yeah. We've got our little frog shape through the feet without bearing down or lifting off through the pubic bones now. On your exhale breath, gently squeeze the heels or the ball with your inner thighs. And then inhale, soften. I'd like you to do 6 of these. So it's quite a few. When you squeeze the ball, make sure that you're not also squeezing across the shoulders or compressing lengthwise through any segment of the spine. Long pathway for the breath. And when you've done your last one, just pause for a moment, breathe in place. And we'll build this finally into a knee lift or a thigh lift. So much like the very first extension we did, where we were extending the hips, we're lifting up the back of our thighs. When you're ready to move on, prepare with an inhale. Exhale, squeeze the ball and use your glutes to lift the back of your thighs up. Inhale, lower down and soften the squeeze a little bit. Do 6 of these as well. Now, this is for your glutes. It's not an exercise for your low back. And you here too want to make sure you're not anticipating or tensing or activating in any way your shoulders, your ribs, your neck. Good glute tone is protective of the low back, actually. So if your low back is occasionally grumpy, this is a good thing for you to do. And when you've done your 6th and last little heel squeeze and lift, then you go ahead and let your legs relax down and sit back into shell stretch, please. Take your time in shell stretch and breathe. And as you stretch here, you can also feel free to walk your hands side to side or add any other additional movement that feels good for you. Be sure that your head and your neck are still mobile. Mhm. And then we'll come into hands and knees. So kind of bring yourself forward and upward, spreading across the chest and lightly pulling down through the shoulder blades as you come into hands and knees position. We're going to do our bird dog or opposite arms and legs reaching. And the glute connection that you used to lift the weight of your legs is really going to be important here as you lift and extend a leg away from you, as is the core and the lower abs in particular. We want to balance the work the glutes are doing in back of the hip with the work the low abs are doing in front so that the pelvis is stabilized externally as well as internally. In hands and knees, when you've arranged your spine and your posture, we take a breath and then on an exhale, extend opposite arm and leg forward and back. Hold here, breathe in, and exhale to return. Alternate across the diagonals. And just because we all move at a slightly different pace, just know that you're going to be doing 4 across the sides. Breath moving. Try not to tilt your face up as you stretch. There we go. And when you've done your last one, sit back again into shell. We're going to lower down onto our belly and do some version of swimming. So you're going to lie prone on your belly, and then I promise we're off our stomach for the rest of the day or morning here. All right. And you can have your hands under your forehead, especially if you're going to be lifting and moving the legs only. So swimming, let me back up a little bit. We're going to be doing a flutter kick through the legs, potentially a flutter movement through the arms, with both of those things moving across the body. So opposite arm and leg lift and lower at the same time until you create this cross body fluttering. Yeah, in the full version. You can elect to only do the legs. You can elect to even only do the arms. All right, I'll describe it for you here. The spine is neutral, the pelvis is resting and grounded, and you're connected upstream and down. We will exhale and feel an opening across the upper chest, potentially a little bit of activation and lift from the bottom of the shoulder blades. Inhale, and if you're going to exhale and extend and lift the legs now, go ahead and do that. Balancing on the front of the pelvis, maybe you extend the arms forward, both legs back, both arms forward, flutter kicking across the sides in the full version. Now, this is a quiet activity for the spine, a smooth activity for the breath. And whether you're doing just arms or just legs or some combination of those things, we're breathing here and connecting across the body halves. 30 more seconds. Keep your peace of mind. Don't let this exercise build anxiety. And you can always lower down when you need to. We're at 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands back in if the arms are extended, and exhale, everything lowers. Good. Now, if you like, you can sit back into shell, or if you prefer, you can just roll over and lie on your back. In either case, we're bringing the knees close to the chest or the chest close to the knees. All right, over the next couple of breaths, make your way to your back if you're not already there. We'll be doing, just to connect across the sides, a little mini set of full obliques, followed by a set of scissors, and then we stretch. Okay, and the scissors honestly is a version of stretch. So you're lying back, you make your upper back comfortable, including your head. If that means propping yourself up, you do it. If it means keeping your head on the mat, that's what you do. We will imprint to build a foundation for this exercise. Use your exhale here. And then with the whole length of your spine relaxing, exhale, lift a leg at a time into tabletop. If you're going to be bending forward for obliques, hands behind the head or support under the upper back. And then with the chin knotted, If you're going to lift from whatever you're supported by, exhale, start to lengthen and raise the upper back from the floor. Just the legs at first. Take a breath. Exhale, extend one. Inhale, bend. Exhale, extend the other. And then when you've got the rhythm of this, you'll exhale, extend one leg and twist across to the other bent knee. Unless your head is down or you're choosing not to twist from the waist. Do a couple more across the sides. Return to center. Exhale, lower your head if it's lifted. Hug your knees to your chest, release your low back, set your tailbone down, keep your imprint, hold on to the backs of your legs, and press them into tabletop position. If you're going to bend forward for scissors, do that. I'm not going to bend forward. I want to rest my spine and stretch my legs only. And then legs extend upward, maybe not all the way straight, but stretched. We take a breath. And then on the exhale breath, split the legs front to back. Inhale through center and exhale, split the legs front to back. Now, because we are applying a little bit of arm strength, you want to make sure that you're not pulling from the neck, but you're truly using your biceps, triceps, and lats. Continue moving across the sides. One more time in each direction. And then bend the knees and drop them towards your chest. Take a breath. Keep your imprint. Place your tailbone on the floor. Head stays on the mat for everyone. Legs extend upward. Arms in a place where you can rest your upper spine and shoulders. And we start slowly bicycling forward. So imagine you're on a bicycle. And turn those pedals in a forward direction. Keep it small and slow. We're not in a race. Unless it feels better to go fast. So yeah, similar to swimming, the spine is steady and resting. And we're moving through the legs, maybe about 10 more seconds in this direction. Breath is smooth. And then we pause at the end of that, stretch the legs upward, and bicycle back. Right? Which doesn't work if you have the old-fashioned, backwards brake bike, but pretend it's a 10-speed or something like that. You got gears, you're bicycling backward. We got about 30 more seconds. Almost done. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop your knees towards your chest. One at a time, drop your feet to the floor. Stretch the legs out long. Place your arms in a position that's restful. If your eyes are open, gently allow your focus to soften. You're also welcome to close your eyes. Allow your bones to have weight into the floor as they rest into the bed of your muscles. Breathing in and out without sleepiness, just with calmness. 2 more inhales and exhales. And then you gently open your eyes, see the space in front of you, sigh. And that's it for today, you guys.
Thank
Nice
you,
work.
Joyce.
You're welcome. I'll turn off my recording. You guys have a really good weekend. Bye bye.